Matt Miguez has plenty on his mind, and he's ready to share it with the world. It's time to hear the Miguez Mindset.
Welcome into the Miguez Mindset here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. My name's Matt Miguez. It was a rough weekend for fans of the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Really good weekend for the New Orleans Saints, though. We're going to talk about all of that here on today's episode. So let's get started with the New Orleans Bowl. The Louisiana Ragin Cajuns falling in overtime, 34-31. Look, this was an opportunity for the Cajuns to turn this 2023 season into a step forward, take a big leap forward from their 6-7 season last year when they fell in the Independence Bowl, finished 6-6 in the regular season once again, but again, had the opportunity to finish this season a little different, right? And it started off looking like the Cajuns were well on their way to doing so. Minute 43 into the game, Jalen Clark picks up a fumble and takes it 46 yards for a touchdown, gives the Cajuns an early 7-0 lead. It took Jacksonville State 10 minutes to answer that. It was 7-7 after one quarter. And then late in the second, I should say, 4:22 left in the second quarter, Jalen Clark again, a 16-yard pick six this time, made it 14-7 in favor of the Cajuns. But again, Jacksonville State would answer with a 7-yard touchdown run from eventual MVP Ron Wiggins. They made it 14-14 at the halftime break. Jacksonville State answers with a field goal to start the third quarter. A little bit halfway through, Cajuns answer pretty quickly with a 73-yard drive that only took about 2 minutes. Chandler Fields runs it in from a yard out to make it 21-17. But then again, the Gamecocks came right back. Nearly 3 minutes later, an 8-play, 75-yard drive ended in a 10-yard touchdown run from Logan Smothers. They made it 24-21 Gamecocks after 3 quarters. But then the Cajuns scored 10 straight points. And with 5.5 left in the game, the Cajuns had a 7-point lead, and things, started to feel like this was going to happen for the Ragin Cajuns. But then a minute 46, a 8-play, 70-yard drive. Perry Carter catches an 18-yard pass from Zion Webb that tied the game at 31 apiece. And then you get to overtime, and the Cajuns get the ball to start overtime. And on first down, you run a double reverse wide receiver pass with Peter LeBlanc. Or there was an instance late in the fourth quarter when you had the football and 2nd and 1, you throw it. 3rd and 1, you throw it. And then you kick the field goal. There were several decisions made in this game that I questioned and wanted to kind of figure out the thought process behind it, right? Credit, obviously got to give credit to Jacksonville State. An 8-4 team came in here from Conference USA in their first season of FBS football. They played well. You got 526 total yards, 31 first downs. You had the ball for 6 minutes more than the Cajuns did. But here's the thing that stands out. The Cajuns scored 3 defensive touchdowns. 3. You had 2 pick sixes and a scoop and score. You won the turnover margin 4-0. You didn't turn the ball over one time. The Cajuns, they never turned the ball over. And you forced 4 turnovers. How do you lose? Like that's the thing that's going to eat this coaching staff and these players and keep them up at night. How do you go +4, score 21 points on defense, and still lose? So that's a big question that the Cajuns are kind of dealing with now. Hopefully a leaf can be turned with early signing day tomorrow. We'll look to see what the Cajuns can do with that. And then on the hardwood on Sunday, it was a renewed rivalry between Bob Marlin and Will Wade. Everybody remembers what happened in the NIT 5 years ago. And they meet on the court again, this time a lot more cordial when they met at half court. Had about a minute-long conversation. And from the looks of things, everything seemed very pleasant. And it was a great basketball game. Cajuns and Cowboys really battled throughout all 40 minutes. There was a little bit of a scrum there in the second half that actually led to 3 McNeese players being ejected. 3 technical fouls were called against the Cowboys. So the Cajuns got 6 tech free throws. They made 5 of them to put them up 10 in this game. And then McNeese, just slowly kind of chipped away at it, right? And a big play late was DJ Richards hitting a three-pointer with about 48 seconds to go to give McNeese a 1-point lead. And from there, they just kind of held on to win at 74-72. It's McNeese's first win over the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns in 8 years. And now with Will Wade at the helm, they're off to a 10-2 start, their best start since 1972. So really big things happening in Lake Charles. The Cajuns 6-5 now to start the season. They're kind of going to have to figure some things out. They go to Rice on Friday before taking the break for Christmas, and then next Friday, or next Saturday, I should say, December 30th, they open conference play in Huntington, West Virginia against Marshall. So some things to figure out there. Also some LSU news. Jaden Daniels announced that he will not be playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Wisconsin. He will instead prepare for the NFL draft. But so far, and according to Brian Kelly, it's the only player that does not plan on playing. So that's a big step in the right direction for the Tigers. If you can keep everybody else in the game, I think that's big. And also big news from the transfer portal. Vanderbilt quarterback A.J. Swan committed to the Tigers last night. So is there a quarterback battle brewing in Baton Rouge for the spring between A.J. Swan and Garrett Nussmeier? Swan, of course, starting this past season for the Commodores. And then the New Orleans Saints. Tommy DeVito, Saquon Barkley, and the New York Giants come to town. Things felt a little eerie with that game, and the Saints said, yeah, we got that. 7 sacks on the day. Derek Carr plays his best game as a New Orleans Saint, going 23 of 28 for 218 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the Saints pick up a much-needed 24-6 win. They're now back at 500 at 7-7 on the season, winners of their last 2, but short week. They go to L.A. on Thursday to take on the L.A. Rams on Thursday Night Football. The Rams currently a 4-point favorite in that game. The Saints were looking for some help from the Philadelphia Eagles last night. They didn't get it. The Seattle Seahawks won in late dramatic fashion. So now things get pretty dicey in the NFC playoff picture if the Saints can't find a way to win the NFC South. They still have 2 games left against divisional opponents, one with Tampa, the team that they are currently tied with for the division lead, and then the Atlanta Falcons, who are close behind. So could be an interesting final 3 weeks for the New Orleans Saints. We'll preview all of that throughout the next couple of days and get you set for that Thursday night game with the LA Rams. But, again, going back to the Cajuns, there's some questions to be answered. There are some changes that need to be made, and what changes need to be made exactly, it's hard to say. Nobody really knows. But you just feel like something's got to be different in 2024 with this program. So we'll see what happens over this offseason. It's going to be a very important offseason for Michael Desormeaux and his staff. So we'll keep you updated with anything that happens. 2 assistants have left already. Jeff Burris going to Louisiana Tech, where he came from, to come to Louisiana. He's going back to coach the defensive backs over at Louisiana Tech. And then offensive line coach Jeff Norrid has gone to Troy. Excuse me, not Troy. He's gone to Duke. For some reason, I thought it was Troy, but I had Jared Parker on the brain, Troy's new head coach, the Notre Dame offensive coordinator. But again, he goes to Duke for the same position to coach offensive line for the Blue Devils under their new head coach. So with all of that being said, again, plenty of changes coming for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Some of them probably needed. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at ESPN Southwest Louisiana. Make sure you share our channel with your friends and family. Any subscribers we can get gets us closer and closer to our goal each and every week, which is really important to us. So help us out any way that you can. Also, make sure you follow us on social media at ESPN_SWLA, constantly posting great content from games and press conferences and all kinds of events. So definitely make sure you check that out at ESPN_SWLA. We'll be back later this week to preview Saints and Rams on Thursday Night Football here on the Miguez Mindset on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.